Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the live, y'all. How are you guys doing today on this beautiful Sunday? It's Sunday, yes. On this beautiful Sunday. How are you guys doing today? If you're wondering how I'm doing, hey GR. If you're wondering how I am doing well. I am doing really well. If I could be so honest, I spent this week relaxing, decompressing, being excited for a break. So, now we're here. And I also spent this week really getting into what I'm going to talk about for this episode. It's like, I feel like I didn't expect for me to get to this point when talking about health, but it's gotten to a point where I have to study physics. Is that, yeah, physics? I'm not a physician. I don't know. You see how I'm like, these words are just not of me. It's not of me. So I've had to go into treacherous waters to understand certain stuff. And, you know, I guess that's just what I have to do to understand. A time for recreation, yes. I'm excited. I'm going to take a little mini road trip. So I'm the most excited about that because it's going to be out there in the country, far, far away from all of the city life. I need a break. I need to touch grass. I need to lay under a tree and go to sleep. I need to lay on the grass and be taken care of by the grass. But yeah, I just need to come back to self. I'm so tired, y'all. So how are you doing, GR? I'm trying to find this live so I can make sure. There we go. Grounding for sure. That's exactly what I need. That's exactly what I need. Okay, so the question will be, what or who do you... Oh, wait, no. I'm gonna have to do it on my computer. On my phone. Let's see. Q&A. What or who do you take care of most? Okay, so I'm asking a question. It's going to be a question and answer. A Q&A question. So it's not a poll today. It's a Q&A question, and it's asking you, what do you take care of the most? So today we're going to get into the conversation of why health seems so hard for certain people. And we're going to get into some of the extra laws that we haven't talked about. So if you are new here, you haven't been here, you need a little bit of updating of what is going on with this health conversation. You might hear me talking about what I'm getting into just to learn this, right? So my audience chose this conversation of health because that is what they are the most interested in. And when I get into health, I got into studying the etymology of the terms, all terms, honestly. And when you look into the etymology of health, it means to be whole. It means to be sound. It means to be well, right? And so I'm not the type of person who's just going to stop right there. I dig deeper. Make sure you double tap the live, y'all. I dig deeper into everything that I see, not just surface level, right? So you already have the understanding of whole. Example, if you have a whole cake, you take a piece away, it's no longer a whole cake, okay? You can't make it a whole cake. Even if you smush them back together, it's no longer whole. So as a human being, we are systems. We have different aspects of us. We have a heart, we have legs, we have skin, we have eyes, we have ears. All of these different parts come together to make a whole. So that is what it means to, in one aspect of health, is to have all of the parts working together functionally, harmoniously, right? And so the other aspect of health, let me go ahead and delete this. Okay. Did I delete the right person? Yeah. Okay, there we go. There you go. So the other aspect of health is to be sound. And we already kind of got into that idea of what it means to be sound. If you really want more information on what it means to be sound, go watch the musical video that we talked about. We talked about music. It was a great video. And then we talk about being well, which means to be satisfied, which most of the people in 2025 are unsatisfied. So are we really healthy? No. There's a sense of you need to be satisfied in order to be well, in order to be healthy. But on top of that, every day is a day for you to realign, because as humans, we naturally unalign to our higher authority, right? Especially modern day humans. We live in these homes where most of us are not connected to nature. Most of us are not eating a healthy diet every day, especially if you live in America. So all this to say that we are unaligned to our natural cycles of life, the natural order in which life is supposed to be, right? And what is that natural order that a lot of us forget about and we're not really taught about? Double tap the video if you're interested. Double tap. I see 222. Shout out to you. Anywho, what is that natural order that we so often forget is above us and has direct control over us and has direct authority over us? It's literally the sun, right? So I'm giving you all this foundational knowledge so you can understand why are we talking about this today. You're going to be hearing a lot of stuff from me today, and if you don't understand where it's coming from, it's going to go in one ear and out the other, right? So the sun has a natural authority. How do you know that? What makes you say that the sun has natural authority over us? Well, it controls the seasons. Wherever that sun is, it's going to tell us whether it's winter time, summer, all of those things, right? It controls time. That sun goes down, it's nighttime. That sun goes up, it's morning time. It controls even the systems in our body. That light, as soon as you go out in the morning and you get that morning light, it's setting your circadian rhythm to be in order. It's setting you to be healthy, for you to have better sleep. It's giving you spatial awareness, time awareness. It's orienting you, anchoring you into the time that we are in currently. So there's a lot more things that the sun do. You know, it grows the plants, gives us life, literally. So that sun is above us, and we cannot deny the authority that the sun has over this world. So when we talk about being well and getting back into alignment, that is one aspect of getting back into alignment is with the sun, right? And so I lead this to go deeper into our conversation for today to discuss the fact that even the sun follows laws. The sun is not the end all be all, you know. The sun is just what was given to us in this world to survive and maintain the way that we're going to maintain, right? So you think deeper into it and you see, okay, the sun has laws that it has to abide by as well. And we've talked about those laws. We talked about the law of gravity already. But today we're going to talk about a law that honestly took me a whole week to understand. And even still, there's aspects of this that I'm still like, it's just far from me, you know? So I'm still really comprehending this conversation. But I spent a whole week. So I'm not going to waste that whole week of understanding. I'm going to let you guys know what's going on. Hi, Ethan. Hi, Joshua. How are you guys doing today? I'm going to tell you what's going on. I spent a whole week learning about what's going on. Make sure you like the video. So the sun follows a few laws, and we're not going to get into all the laws. But when you look at the laws that the sun follows, it leads you into physics. Y'all, I'm not one of those people. I love to learn, but really once it gets to math, I never wanted to be a mathematician. I never wanted to do those things. But I will say that the term today is entropy. Let me show y'all what it looks like, y'all, so y'all can get an understanding. The term today is entropy. That is one of the laws that the sun follows. If you guys are so interested in learning yourself, the actual concept to learn is thermodynamics. That's the actual concept to learn, but we're not going to get into that whole concept. We're just going to get into a part of it, which is entropy. So I'm going to show you an image, because it's better to see an image than to just be told about what it is. Okay, I didn't prepare the image, so give me a second. If you see the thumbnail that I chose, you see that's the reason why I chose that thumbnail, is because of entropy. Hold up. So this is the word. You kind of can't see it because guess what's happening? Entropy is happening in this image, right? So it's ENTROPY, entropy. And if you can see, it's kind of disappearing and separating itself. I'm giving y'all foundational knowledge. Here's another aspect. Here's another image that describes entropy. Right? So it's condensed, it's together, structured. And in the second picture, it becomes less condensed, less structured, more random. Thank you, JR. So, and mind you, I never seen this page before. I didn't even read this page before. But I need to come back and read some of this, because it says depression is like entropy. Interesting. Depression is like entropy. It reduces us to our lowest form of energy and keeps us trapped in that energetic sinkhole where we're weakest. In order to better live with this illness, we must learn to use whatever energy we muster to bring structure into our lives again. Oh, this is what is this? The University of British Columbia put this out. The title is What Thermodynamics Taught Me About Coping with Depression. Oh, this is a good article. I'm about to read it when we get done with this, because I didn't even read it. I just saw the picture and clicked on it. I'm going to have to click on it later. But, hi, Rose. Okay, so that is entropy. And so what entropy is, it's a law that everything abides by, even the sun. And what entropy says is it measures disorder in a system. Okay. It measures disorder in a system. For me personally, I want y'all to keep a very open mind with this conversation, because for me personally, me going through this, it was like, huh? What? I had to keep rereading and re-saying the same thing every single day, 6 times a day. Like literally, I'm not being literal, but literally that's what it felt like. For me to even grasp what the heck is going on with this, right? So entropy is the measure of disorder, and you can really compare it to temperature. Temperature measures what? Heat, the amount of heat in a room, right? So where am I at? Because I haven't been paying attention to my notes. I just been talking. Where we at? I think it's right here. Okay. So an example of entropy is you have, okay, let me go back. So entropy measures disorder in the system. And the law of life, the law of the sun is everything moves towards disorder. Everything moves towards disorder unless it's being taken care of, it's being tended to, it's being structured, organized, obviously from some external source. So if something is not being taken care of, it over time moves to disorder. So examples of that is a room. If you don't clean your room, over time, it's going to be messy. If you don't pick up after yourself, over time it gets messy. If you are throwing things in a pile and not looking at it, over time, the pile is going to be everywhere. It's not going to be a clean, neat pile, right? If you are, what else? What's another good example of entropy? Your body, because we're talking about health, your body. If you are not taking care of your body and you're not putting in the right stuff into your body, over time, your body becomes disordered, or what we call diseased, right? So that is what entropy is. Entropy says things move toward disorder, things move towards randomness, things move towards what we perceive as chaos when we don't structure it. And so the thing about it is that a system is just a system. What is a system? A system is something, a whole thing made up of individual pieces that work together to make that whole thing function. That's really just what a system is, right? So any system can move towards disordered, unregulated, chaotic, and random if it's not being tended to. So the thing about it is that, hey y'all, you said you recently reminded that the sun has been part of spiritual life from the beginning of humanity. Exactly. And that's the thing about it, is we need to be reminded, because we are human and we forget. Enrico, it's been well. How you been, friend? So the thing about it, like I was showing you guys an image earlier. Let me show you guys another image. The thing about it is that when we describe entropy, they describe it in two ways typically. They say low entropy versus high entropy. So I'm going to show you an image. It's a little blurry. Hopefully you can understand it. So in this image, you have low entropy. And when you see low entropy, remember, entropy just describes how disordered it is. So when they say low entropy, they say this is low disorder, low chaos, low randomness, right? This is not as random as this. Low entropy will be like a solid, which humans are what? Solid. You know what to expect typically when it comes to a human, right? Versus liquid, which is in the middle. It's still a little random, but it's not as random, not as chaotic. You can kind of expect it. Versus gas. Once something becomes a gas, it becomes high entropy. And what that means is it disperses in random order. You don't know what to expect from it. It's not structured. You can't really tend to gas, right? The same way that you can tend to a solid. Hey, baby, you want to say hi to the live? Come here, baby. Come say hi. Come say hi. You don't have to say hi for a long time. Just say hi. Okay. Is that enough? Okay. Bye, baby. Just wanted y'all to see him real quick while he was over here before he does whatever he does with his life. So I needed y'all to get that understanding so you guys can understand that human beings are low entropy. This is who we are. Low entropy internally. Internally. In our body, we are a system. Low entropy. And that's the same way that a sun is low entropy. Y'all, I've been laughing to myself this whole week. Like, we started talking about health, and I bet people thought that I was going to talk about sugar and conspiracy theories and how the government hates its citizens, which is a conversation as well. You know, this conversation, we're talking about why it's so hard to stay healthy. That's one aspect of it. We live in an environment, in a society that doesn't make it easy. That's one part of it. But another part of it is that we were not taught from youngin' the true source of wealth and health in this world. Which, the funny part about it is, the scientists are learning, but because they're seeing it in a particular perspective, they're not perceiving this the same way that I myself as a spiritual sage woman is perceiving this information, right? They're taking this and they're building refrigerators, cars, and engines with this information. They're building power grids with this information. But me, I'm taking this information, I'm saying, how do we become healthier humans? So anywho, we need more black physicians, physicists. How do you say it? What's the word for people who study physics? People who study physics is called physicists. What's the word that says it out loud for you? I need the word that say this out loud because I don't know how to say that. Say this out loud. So where do I get something to say this out loud? This is annoying. Physicist. I think that's how you say it. Physicist. Oh, here we go. The dictionary. Hold up. Y'all. The most is what I'm doing just to hear this out loud. Physicist. We need more black physicists. Go work at NASA. Where are the black physicists at? A person skilled in natural science. Okay. Where are the black physicists at, y'all? Y'all go study physics. Go be a black physicist. Y'all. Who made that word up? Hey, PR, how are you? So, back to what I was saying. When it comes to systems and all these things, humans are low entropy. Again, what does that mean? We're not as random. We're condensed energy, right? We're structured energy. How do we know we're structured? How do we know we're structured? Because we have cells that come into tissue, that come into organs, that come into organ systems that make up a whole organ. How do we know we're structured humans? That's what it is, right? Social media has ruined ambition. Hopefully somebody finds ambition. If I have any children, my children will be very intelligent. I know for sure they're going to be maybe in the NASA. They'll probably be very high ranking. I can tell already that my children will do something with their lives because I have too much information for them not to. And it's not going to be me making them. It's going to be them interested in it because, baby, in this house, we're going to talk about science. We're going to talk about what's really going on. You know, side note, I remember I went to this one place. It was a while ago. And it was like an outdoors adventure thing. And I had met this mom and this son. And the whole time, the son just, like the literal son, right? He just kept saying this random science stuff. Like just random science stuff. I'm like, he's so young. He's just saying all this. He was like very adorable. So then the mom was over there because we was like taking turns. So I would go first. The son would go after because we were going down zip lines and stuff. So I went first. The son would go after me. Then the mom would go last, right? And so when we finally got done and we were just standing around, I was like, I asked the mom, are you like a science teacher or something? Why this little boy keeps saying all these science facts? She was like, yeah, I am a science teacher. I said, see, that's how you pass down the wealth. Just give your children the information that you know. And if they're interested, they'll catch on and they'll take whatever they need to take, you know, whatever. You said natural, known science. We are still discovering and growing. Exactly. Every day. And that's actually also a law, is that the world is constantly expanding, which is entropy. Entropy, like it says, is constantly becoming disordered, random. It's constantly expanding and moving outwards. So we will never know, because every time we figure something out, the world is constantly expanding. It will be something else to figure out. It may be the same thing to figure out, but in a different perspective. So what do we do as low entropy beings? Understand that the sun internally is also considered low entropy. What does that mean? Internally, the sun is not as random. Internally, the sun is condensed, more structured. But what happens? Because we can compare humans to the sun in this aspect. What happens is that the sun externally, let me show y'all a picture of the sun. externally releases all of this heat and light. And when it does that, that's when high entropy happens. That's when the randomness and the less structured energy happens. It releases this gas. It releases this energy. It comes out as solar flares. So let me show y'all some of these pictures that you see when you look at the sun. So here's the sun, right? A ball of light, fire, hydrogen, and gases, all those things, right? And so it's constantly releasing things, energy, gas, light. This is a solar flare. If you've never seen one before, that's a solar flare. And what happens when it releases this stuff, right? What happens? Here's another image. What happens when it releases this stuff? We're talking about health, y'all. Don't get off track that we're talking about health, y'all. We might be talking about physics, but we're talking about health. How to be a healthy person. What happens when it releases it? Well, that same random, high entropy, chaotic, all over the place, unstructured energy comes to Earth, right? It comes to Earth. And what happens with that energy that comes to Earth? We use that random energy to keep Earth alive, keep the plants, keep the animals, keep everything alive. We use that energy to structure our time. Like I was saying, we use that energy for so many things. So high entropy is being released from the sun. We're receiving it, using it to stabilize our life, ground us in this lifetime, right? Orient us in this lifetime. And then we use it to structure, keep our system structured, keep us internally low entropy inside. And then guess what? We do the same thing. What do we have? We don't talk about it, but the spiritual people talk about it. We have an aura. We have different layers to our body and our energy as well. It's not just the aura. Let me see if I can find layers of our aura. No, layers of energy field for humans. I'm giving y'all a lot of images because I don't want anybody to leave like, you know, confused. I know that visual cues are important for comprehension. So that's what I'm here to do, is help you guys with some visual cues. If you look up just layers of energy field for humans, you'll see an idea. Again, this is just an idea. This is not like a true example of what you're going to see when you see energy field. So it's a lot of different images that you can see. It can cause disturbances on Earth if it's too large. Really? I didn't know that. So this is an example, right? It's not a true to life example of an energy field, but it's just an example. And you can see that you have different layers. You have the physical plane where you have the mental, emotional, and etheric body. You have the astral plane where you have the astral body. You have the spiritual plane where you have different bodies as well. So even humans' energy have different ways of being, are being perceived, are being expressed in different planes of this world, right? Let's not get too off track, okay? So humans, we are internally what they call low entropy. So what that means, internally we're structured, organized, right? And we release, the same way that the sun does, we release high entropy, high random energy. And what happens is it's the energy that is no longer usable. When you think of high entropy, like I said, it's like the gas. It's difficult to use that energy. We release that energy out of our body, okay? And it goes somewhere else because energy is never destroyed or created. It goes somewhere else. So we're constantly releasing energy out of our system. But the problem is, hey Haywood, welcome back. The problem is that sometimes humans are actually not releasing this. Sometimes we're supposed to be low entropy. Sometimes as humans, we don't release that high entropy, so it gets in our body, gets stuck in our body, becomes stagnant. What does that lead to? Dis-ease, because we're supposed to be releasing this energy. How do we release these energies, right? We release it through sleeping. And we hear this all the time. We understand already why we need to be healthy. So why is it so difficult for people to be healthy? Because there's a lack of comprehension. There's something in the way that's lacking, like stopping them from comprehending the full effects. And it's just like, okay, I know this, but there's something stopping you. To me personally, I feel like that understanding comes from knowing that you are a system. You are not no random thing. You are highly designed, very intelligently designed. By who? Who knows? Let's call it God. Okay? You are highly designed by something. You are highly systematic. And everything is highly designed in a special way to work harmoniously to create balance, whether you understand it or not, right? So if you are not getting adequate sleep, if you are not moving your body daily, if you are not breathing, and I say intentionally breathing because we all breathe, but we don't intentionally breathe. We don't take time to really get that breath out, right? If you're not sweating, if you're not eliminating through like using the bathroom, especially on time to support kidney function and stuff like that, if you're not emotionally expressing yourself, if you're not mentally expressing yourself, if you're not doing these things, guess what? That all of that random, chaotic, unstructured energy that's supposed to be released gets stuck within you. What does that cause? Dis-ease. You know, I knew somebody personally. Well, let me not say personally. I've seen women go insane over a man. And women who stick around for a man who does not treat them well. And eventually, because they're not being treated well, these women, they start having diseases. I knew a woman who was severely sick. I'm not going to finish the story. But they start having diseases, mental disorders. Why? Because they don't want to leave a man who's not taking care of them. These things happen every day. People who are overworked and overstressed and don't take time to rest. Just because you go to sleep every night does not mean that's adequate rest, y'all. You need literal breaks from working every day. You can't work 7 days a week and then sleep for 2 days and think that that's enough. Like, that's not how it works. So we need these things to not just keep us healthy, but to eliminate this high energy that is within us. It's kind of like a car engine, because they also use entropy science and mathematics for engines and refrigerators and things of this sort. They use this science to understand, like, let me make sure I don't say it incorrectly. Let me make sure. I don't want to say it incorrectly. Where's the information at? Okay. They use it to understand how systems fail, how systems recover, what maintenance costs, and why efficiency is limited, right? Because like I said, everything goes to disorder. So when we use this science, they're trying to understand, they're trying to predict a breakdown before it actually breaks down. So how much energy do we need to put in this system? How do we make sure the unnecessary energy is being released? You know, like in engines in a car, it's moving. You can literally feel the heat coming off the engine. Heat is being released. Imagine if you have an engine that's cold. You're not going to have a cold engine working, right? It's just, I've never seen it, have y'all? So, you know, I'm trying to put it in man terms. I know there's a lot of men on the channel, so maybe y'all understand cars and stuff like that. Hey, I ain't seen you in so long. How you been? How have you been? You've been You've been relaxing, coming from up here down here. How you been? You been down here? You've been grounding yourself. So, hey Clarence, hey, how are you doing? No, not purposely breathing, like a meditative or restful reset. That's what it needs. It's like a restful reset. That's what it is that people need. So, if you're not doing something every day to do this, eventually your body is going to start storing that high entropy. What is high entropy? That random chaotic energy that is actually no longer useful to the body, because it's already been used by the body, is no longer useful to the body, is getting stuck in you. And guess what? Now you become disordered. You said no, an engine has a proper operating temperature. I don't even know what that means, GR. What does that mean? Like it stays at a certain temperature? I don't know. Make sure y'all like the video, y'all. Make sure y'all like the video. So I say all that to say that we feel like it's so difficult to be healthy, but really if you start looking at health in the aspect of I need to release this high, random, used, unnecessary energy out of my body, and you start looking at the things that you're doing as what is it? As the way to release it, it's easier to realize that, okay, I'm actually doing this for a reason. You start having more reason behind it, because health for a lot of people is very abstract. And what that means is they don't have a grounded sense of why. It's far from them to comprehend. You think health and people think, oh, skinny fit, running in the morning around a lake with a bottle of water and eating a salad every day. That's what a lot of people think unintentionally, subconsciously. A proper steady state. Okay, that makes more sense. That's what a lot of people think subconsciously when they think about health, and we forget that health is not just a look. It's a feeling of releasing what's no longer necessary in your body. And so every system does this. Every system does this. Every system consumes energy in whatever way and releases energy. You cannot keep energy. You have to constantly be releasing energy every day. It's necessary for survival. If you're not releasing energy, what happens? You become diseased. You become stagnant. There's no longer any flow through your body system. So again, humans are very structured, very organized, non-random beings. That's why people can study us and say, hey, this is how you come up with a solution for a human problem, for different diseases. There's a solution, because humans are not random. And when you can find that pattern, it's easy for us to support their health, right? So where was I going with this conversation? We know that we need to release high entropy. It's natural. If you watched our detox video already, which all of these videos come together. If you haven't watched them, go watch them. It's not that many, honestly. If you watch the detox video, you understand that our body is naturally made to detox. And so typically what we have to do is just what? Give it what it needs. That's all we typically have to do, is give our body what it needs. Again, what does our body need? Sunlight. Natural sunlight. Go outside. Grand Rising, Godson, how are you? So go outside, get some sunlight, receive energy. We talked about the meal sequencing and eating your vegetables first, your green leafy greens and all those things, getting a handful, just eating it to support digestion. Go eat those greens first, drink that water, right? Because life is only as easy as you make it. And one thing about humans is that humans are very forgetful. Our memory is poor. And if you don't do something, unless it's emotionally attached, because we don't really remember things, we remember emotions. So you have to remind yourself every day. And that's just physical, right? Physically, you have to get sunlight, drink water, breathe. You have to do these things every day because it's what's going to support you in eliminating that high random energy that you've already used. But if you're looking at emotionally and mentally, you're going to have to release that. This is the form of, in a way, detoxing, releasing energy that's no longer necessary. And what do when we do things, when we need to detox emotionally or mentally? Well, you feel your emotions. You acknowledge your emotions. Even as a man, men always say, like, men are not emotional. Men are actually some of the most emotional beings. Like, literally, the funny thing about men is that they've been told that they're not emotional. So they've accepted that script a lot. Not all men, of course, but I've seen it time and time again. They've accepted that script and said, well, that's me because I'm a man. And all these other men are not showing emotions, so I must not show emotions either. And they take that script and they run with it, but then they show emotions through the most, like, chaotic ways. It's like, why are you acting like that? Oh, it's because you're emotional, but you're not trying to perceive yourself as emotional, but now you're making emotional decisions. But you're not saying it's emotional. You're just saying what? I don't know. So, hey, friend. So you have to acknowledge your emotions, express your emotions however you express them. Doesn't mean you have to cry, but sometimes you just do a little like, ah. You know, sometimes I've seen when it comes to men, a lot of men are not good at expressing those emotions. They start hitting walls. You ever seen a man hitting walls? I'd be like, why are you hitting these walls? I don't know. Sometimes young kids, they'll hit some walls. I'm like, oh my God, y'all hitting walls. You know, sometimes these emotions can be expressed through exercising, you know, moving your body, hip movements and stuff, stretching and stuff like that can help you express some of this stuff. But all of these are ways for you to express these energies. Some people express energies through creative activities. They want to paint and draw and color, and that's what helps them express their emotions. Do what you got to do. But the whole point of it is that we forget that health is not as hard, but we have been conditioned through consistent narration of different stories in this world to think that health means you have to align to abstract ideas that may not truly reflect the real source of health and wealth. If you picking up what I'm putting down, you picking it up. If you're not, maybe a different day. So honestly, this, like, not being regulated, and what does regulated means? Just having structure. Not being regulated is easy. Why is it easier? Being unhealthy is easier than being healthy for conscious, physical, capable beings. I'm saying using specific words because there are certain people out there who don't have the not I'm gonna say blessed, but the opportunity to have every physical part of their body, right? So I went through all the science of it all because you actually do have to understand the science. You have to understand the science because science is law. These are the spiritual laws that we live by. So many people feel like the spiritual laws are found in, you know, old text. But truly, spiritual is typically things that are of the unseen. We're not seeing it. And what are these scientific laws? These are unseen laws that have been studied over time. And they're affecting our life every single day. So the law of entropy is one of those laws that's affecting our life every single day. And so many people forget that we're not here to control the world. We're not here to do anything but be a steward. And, you know, when I say some of these things, don't think that I'm talking, you know, mess about other people's, what they believe in, but understand that they say things like, They say things like, we're here to be stewards, right? And what does it mean to be steward? It means to take care of something. Like I said, life tends to move in the direction of disorder and chaos if it's not being taken care of. So humans are here to steward, but the problem is we have to steward ourselves first. And I'm getting a little deep into this, right? I'm about to go a little deep, y'all. Make sure y'all like the video. We have to steward ourselves first. And so if you've been here previously in a different conversation, we had a conversation about cell, the actual cells in our body. I know I love to talk about that, as above, so below, right? So the original term for cell, like originally it was created because the person who discovered it looked at it and they said, this reminds me of a monk in a room. This reminds me of a monk in a room, worshiping, doing all these things. Clarence, you said you take care of yourself more. I love that. I love that for you. So that's what they said. That's why they called it a cell, because it reminded them of a monk in a room praying. And when you think about it, that's what a cell does. It worships their higher being. It works together in harmony to worship and to function for its higher being. And that's really what true worship is. And when you think about it, when you start to align yourself and put yourself in order, because we know that misalignment means you're sinning. That's what sin means. It's a misalignment to the divine. What's the divine? It's the higher authority. What's our higher authority? If we look outside and we're looking in the real world and we're being real with ourselves, we see the sun. And if you know science, you know gravity, entropy, all these things. These are higher authorities over human life, right? So you put that all together, and I'm trying to come back to myself because I was almost about to lose track of where I was going. So coming back. We're talking about cells. We function the same way as cells. Hold up. Let me not get off track. I'm going to tell you in a minute. We function the same way as cells, right? And so we have to worship to stay in order, to stay functional for our higher being. So when you think about it, because one thing when I first started studying etymology, I used to always ask myself, why does everything go back to religion? Why does everything always go back to religion? And typically it's the Christian religion, because that's where a lot of the language stems from, is that area where Christian religion is the largest, right? And so when you think about it, it's because life is actually religious. Life is spiritual, but life is religious. Why? Because religion has structure. You getting what I'm picking up, what I'm putting down? Spirituality typically doesn't have that same structure because it's people figuring it out on their own, doing whatever they need to do. But religion has structure. The same way that life has structure. Life is structured in a particular way to be aligned, right? So life is very religious. We think we have free will, and in a way it feels like we do, because we can will our life. So in a way we do have free will, but that's in our layer of life. But in the system altogether, baby, there's no free will. Unless high entropy comes and you become very random, then maybe free will is in a different layer. But, that's a lot of what I was getting towards with this conversation, is that entropy is just another example of why you have to tend to your body daily. Why you have to say your affirmations. This is the importance of religion, because religion is meant to be used every day. People read that Bible every day, but what do you get when you don't have that as your Bible? When you don't see that? Now, I told myself a long time ago, I was going to try to read the Bible. This was like 6-7 years ago. And y'all, when I tell you, I opened up that Bible and I said, And I said, what the? Huh? I said, what is going on? Right? And I was like really taking notes, trying to understand. I'm like, what's going on? And mind you, I was raised in a church, y'all. I went to church with my grandma on Sundays. So it's nothing that was new to me. But I was trying to read it as an adult to comprehend it. And that's when I had to realize, I said, I had a spirit speak to me and it said, there will be a time when this makes perfect sense in the future. Don't worry about it now. So guess what I did? I closed it and I put it down. And I say, you know what? Sometime in the future, I'll be able to read this in a perspective where this can make complete sense to me. And eventually, over time, I have someone who I watch on YouTube. Let me see if I'm going to find his YouTube channel. Y'all make sure y'all like the video, y'all. I'm going to find his YouTube channel because I've been watching him for years. And I think he's one of those people who woke me up. Him and Ashura. Those are the people who I watched who kind of put me into waking up and coming out of confusion. But he has very detailed, girl, not that I want to show me his YouTube channel. Hold up. He has very detailed researched information, which is why I like his videos. Oh, thank you, GR. You said, but we're all a part of the oneness, spiritual, connected, interdependent. Exactly. And that's the reason why we don't really have free will, because once you use free will, a lot of times most people use free will and it's not of support to, well, let me not say that that's not true. That's not true. So this guy right here, I've been watching his videos for years. His name is The Real Merkaba on YouTube. Well researched, well traveled. So I had an opportunity to talk to him. And hey, welcome back, Allison. Ain't seen you in a minute, babe. So I had the chance to talk to him, and he studies the Bible. He's read the Bible over and over again. That's what his content, you'll see a lot of his content discusses the Bible and interpreting it, making sense of it. And so I asked him, I said, so what really is the Bible about? Like, you know, he studied this. It's his field of work. And he's like, the body. Period. This very intelligent man told me the Bible is about the body. Health. Why do you think that with this conversation we get into health and become so spiritual, so religious? Because that's what religion is for health. And it's because there are spiritual aspects that affect our health that we don't think about every day. The sun releases this high random entropy. It goes into us. We use that energy. It moves through our systems to support our systems, just like sleep, water, and all these other things. We release it. We see it as aura. Y'all ever seen y'all's own aura? If y'all never seen y'all's aura, y'all got to put it on y'all's to-do list. We don't see, some people see auras. Can y'all see some of that? Some people see auras. My aura looks more like this. I don't know. I think my aura picture failed, so I don't know where it is. But there are so many different types of auras. People got green auras. I remember my nephew, when he was younger, his aura was green. My mom's aura was purple. We release this high entropy. Yes, free will. Thank you, GR. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Here's another picture of somebody's aura. How cute it changed when they started kissing. How cute is that? Aura. Hey, how you been, Musa? How you been, baby? We release this energy and it's seen as our aura, but we don't see our aura. Does the sun see its light? Does it? Who knows? Right? and then it goes somewhere else to be used by somebody else. But we have to start having more structure in our day-to-day life. I know for me personally, I come from how do you see auras? Some people, I'm not the aura person. There are videos on YouTube that teaches you how to see auras. I think some of the techniques are like putting your hand up against a white wall and staring at it for a while. I never practiced it before, but I know people talk about it, so just look it up, you'll find it. So being unhealthy is easy. Okay, walk by faith and not by sight. Period. Being unhealthy is easier, especially in this lifetime, for most people who are not programmed. If you are around people who eat unhealthy, especially around holidays, because eating is a very social activity, it can become harder during holidays. But the thing about it is that you have to do it every day. You got to go get a little sunlight, a little water, little veggies, y'all. I'm about to start practicing keeping vegetables, like little bitty salads that I can just go in my refrigerator and put it in my mouth throughout the day at this point. Because I'm like, this is too much for me. You said, how can I know my aura? So they have aura things. They take pictures. Let me see. Aura picture, where to get. I know I haven't had an aura picture taken in a very long time. It's been years, honestly. But when I did go, I went to a metaphysical shop. The metaphysical shop in my area had one, but not every metaphysical shop has them, because I've been to many metaphysical shops and I haven't seen it in a long time, honestly. And then also I used to go to the metaphysical spirit fairs, is what they called it. And so they would go to different cities and they would sell like crystals, tarot readings, oracle readings, and they would also sell like Reiki, and different spiritual things. They would also sell aura pictures, so you can go get an aura picture. So if I was you, I would just look up aura pictures near me, and there may be someone that does them near you. I see one near me. It says it closes at different times. It closes at 4 p.m. today. Maybe I should go get me an aura picture done today. I think I'm going to go do that over the break since I have time. So y'all just go look it up, and you should be able to find, especially if you live in a big city, you should be able to find one near you. So yeah, if you want to look for, you can look for metaphysical or spiritual shops, studios, events and fairs. Some people, I wouldn't say you can, if you just want to have fun, you can do digital like AI, but that's not going to be exact, because with the aura pictures, they actually have you sit down. They put a cloth over you, so you know, you're not, this is not interrupting the picture. And then you put your hand on the actual tool. You put each finger on each one. I believe that the tool probably just gets like the electricity and the energy, whatever, and then you put the other one on there. How accurate is it? I don't see auras, so I don't know. But I will say that mine was very consistent over years, so it never changed. Mine's personally, I've gotten 2 done, 3 done. Now that I'm thinking about it, was it 2 or 3? I know 2 at least. And it was over a year time frame, and it looked very similar. And everybody else's around me were different. So I like to base mine on how consistent the image turns out. And it was very consistent, and it wasn't like anybody else's. But you said most of them is wicked, aka corporate. No, I don't know what you're talking about, but if you're talking about metaphysical or aura pictures, I don't believe they're wicked. Not like the movie. Because wicked means evil or morally wrong. Yeah, it's not wicked. It's not going to turn you into an evil person, I promise you. Because I'm still here today. Everything negative is easier. The road to success or happiness takes more effort. If this wasn't the case, everyone would be healthy. Exactly. You speaking facts today, friend. Exactly. But understand that anything that's not taken care of will move towards disorder. So you can either stay in disorder and allow disorder to consume you, because that's what it's going to do, or you can tend to yourself, be the steward of yourself, take care of yourself, do what you can. Because it's really, when I think about it, it's about inputs and outputs when it comes to human behavior. Input, what are you consistently inputting? Because what do you want to output? Something's going to be output regardless. So you have to figure out, what do I need to input in this moment? Do I need to input some vegetables? Do I need to input some more deep breathing? Because what do I want to go out? Okay, maybe I want to focus on my kidney health. Well, what do I need to input with my kidneys to have an output? You know, homeostasis, steady state. That's kind of what you were just talking about with the engine earlier, right? GR is that steady state, steady temperature. So, yeah, that's really the conversation that I wanted to get into today. And the thing about it is that humans are also programmed. So once you get into that state of disorder and you don't get up and do something, it does become kind of like a depressive state, and it's easier to get stuck. So every day you have to do something. If you're having the hardest of hardest days in life, you have to do small things first. Sometimes it's just breathing. You know, sometimes it's just affirming to yourself, saying certain affirmations. There's many things that you can do to keep yourself in the right direction at the end of the day, and that's what health is about. And by law, either you're going to become dysregulated and disordered if you don't take care of yourself, or you're going to stay structured, organized, with healthy inputs to stay healthy. So it's all about what you need in this lifetime. We've been talking about it this whole time, about how to stay in health, but sometimes you just need to know the laws that you have to abide by and know that they're real for a fact. Me personally, I had to learn this through science. Some people will be able to learn this through something else. Some people just learn this just through going outside and living life. Everybody will learn this eventually. And I remember when I was younger, and I used to be very interested in how not spirituality, but religion worked. I used to ask my grandma all the questions like, what color is Jesus? Those are literal questions I used to ask as a kid, right? And I remember just really trying to comprehend like this whole religion thing in my mind. And I remember asking like, what if somebody's like in the deepest of the deepest like mountains, and they don't have like the Bible to learn this? How did they learn about God? And I remember like being told like, well, you know, it will reveal itself to them. But I'm thinking in the way of, they need the Bible. How do they don't have a Bible? How are they gonna reveal? And I had to eventually learn that God is God. God is King. God is that overall supreme energy, right? God reveals itself every day, because God just recreates itself in every way, every aspect. You study one thing, it can teach you about another. You compare them, that's God. Anywho, it's Sunday, so I'm getting a little bit more spiritual than what's necessary. But, you know, just it's time to return to our natural order. We forget. And it's okay, because returning is going to become inevitable eventually. So, yeah, that's my story for today. That's all I have for you guys today. Y'all have any thoughts about that? Here's one more image of entropy. It goes from high to low, no, low to high entropy right there. Put it in the comments. Yeah, of course. I got you. Maybe I can put a YouTube link. That's his YouTube link. Let me see. Hopefully that works. Let me see. The Real Merkaba. Thank you, baby. Merkaba. There we go. I think that's how you spell it. Very intelligent man. Very intelligent. Love his videos. But yeah, y'all. Side note, I didn't realize that yesterday was it a full moon or a new moon? It was a full moon in Sagittarius, I think. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. I didn't realize that was yesterday, right? I haven't been keeping track of the moon cycles like that. I look, but I haven't really been like analyzing it, you know, the way that I would have in the past. It was a new moon in Sagittarius, y'all. So y'all know I love me a little moon, astrology, all those things, y'all. I know some of the things I'm probably going to say y'all don't understand. Okay, GR, thank you. I love that. Okay. So I know sometimes I might say some astrology words y'all don't understand. It's okay. Okay, you don't have to remember that part. But just understand that in the area where this new moon is taking place is in the house of business relationships, right? Contracts and all those things. I have been having an issue. If I can be so serious for the past 6 months, which is actually funny because that's like a full cycle. Because let me see, July. Let me go to this and see what the moon cycle was in July. It might have started in June, but it exacerbated in July. Let me see. It was a full moon in Capricorn, or was it a full moon in Sagittarius? I think it was a full moon in Capricorn, but that's close enough. I don't know. June, July was around that time where it started. If you guys understand the astrology of that, then you understand it, right? So it started about 6 months ago. The new moon came yesterday. I didn't realize it. I went out to go look for apartments. I've been having issues with my apartments, and it hasn't been the exact apartment. It has been more of the management. I don't like the management. I don't like people who think that you're going to treat me like a number. I understand it's business, but when I live in an environment, you're going to treat me like someone who lives here, and you're going to respect me as such. And I can be upset, and I can, you know, communicate at the same time. So somebody told me they were going to do something in my apartment, which never was done, which was simple. It was just like putting up signs. It was putting up signs so that the residents can have more parking spaces when the employees are not working. They think that they should have parking spaces, and there are days when you're not here, and now you're taking away parking spaces from the people who live here. Like, it don't make sense. I don't, you know. So that's been going on, right? I've been going back and forth with them about it because don't play with me. I realize that some people just don't care. It's the system. It's the system that they work in, right? And I've had that feeling, but I just don't like disrespect. If you're going to do something, follow through. Don't gaslight and lie to me about it. And multiple people said they was going to do something about it, and it never got done, right? So I went to look for apartments the other day, yesterday. I didn't know where I want to move to, but I just needed some extra just in case I changed my mind last minute. You never know. So I went to this particular apartment complex, and when I went in, the lady, she communicated with me real well. I went in there, and she was like, "Oh, I'm busy right now. I'm the only person here." But she said, "Go ahead, look around, get you some coffee, some hot chocolate, enjoy, and I'll be right back." So I'm like, okay, she communicated with me well. I'm already like, I like these apartments already. She communicating, So I did that. I waited for the lady. So the lady, she eventually comes back. And when she comes back, she's like, yeah, sit down right here. Y'all, I sat down and I seen that the apartment complex is owned by the same apartment complex, by the same people who own the apartment complex that I live in. Y'all, I saw that and I said, oh, I will not be moving here. And so immediately when I said that, I said, oh, immediately when I saw that, I looked at her and I said, you know what? Actually, I was interested, but I don't like this company. So I will not be moving here. I don't actually want to even look at the apartments anymore, but thank you. she got comfortable. When I tell her she got comfortable, she said, "Oh, really?" She got her foot. She was young. She was like young like me. She put her foot up like this. She got real comfortable, y'all. She said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Tell me more." She goes, "I've only been here for a certain amount of time," which was not a long time. She said that she's only been there for a little bit of time, but she's trying to figure out if she should stay or get a new job somewhere else. So I'm like, girl, I don't know nothing about that other place, but if I was you, I would definitely be looking for a new job because this company is terrible. And so she literally, when I tell y'all, the new moon yesterday revealed some stuff that I already knew. It was already, I intuitively already saw it. Physically with my own eyes, I already saw it. But it was just revelation because it was like directly somebody in the company was being honest with me and letting me know what was actually going on. And so she literally showed me her emails. She showed me the computer screen. She showed me how many people she got to call every day. She told me about the manager's schedule. When I tell you, this lady told me everything. I said, I didn't ask for none of this. But one thing I always say to myself is that the world reveals itself to me. Like, I'm one of those people where when I'm having a problem, the information, the tea gets to me. I don't even be looking for it. It comes to me. And then I have all the secrets of the universe, as they say. I get all the information from these people that keep telling me what's going on. So, anywho, so she starts showing me all this information. She basically is like, they overwork us. She was the only one there. She said that the previous lady, she worked every day all the time, that as soon as they had the opportunity, they trained her for like a little bit, and then they had her working there by herself so that the other lady can take a week and a half off just so that she can be there by herself and function. And so I'm like, that's ridiculous. And I kind of already knew that. Hey, John, I kind of already knew that the company overworked the people. But when you overwork your people, the people that you serve, when you are in their environment, they're not able to serve them the appropriate way. And the lady, she obviously didn't come from this real estate background. She came from a different background, so she didn't have that same mentality as some of these real estate minded people have, where it's just, they don't think about the people. They're thinking about the property, the money. Me personally, I work with people, not things. So I can easily empathize and relate to people easier than people who work with things, not people. But the funny thing about it is, if you work in an apartment complex, you don't work with things, you work with people. So to think that you can be so rude and not communicate with the people and think that that's going to be all right, it's just not adding up to me, right? So anywho, I say all that to say that new moon, I had to look back to make sure, like, what's going on in the sun, in the sky? Let me make sure. And I realized, oh, it was a revelation of business. The new moon was revealing something that I've been struggling with for a little bit of time, which was a business system that I do not like. And it revealed to me the reason why I don't like it. And I still don't like the people who work at the property, because you're not going to sit up here and lie to me and think that's how it's going to work. I still don't like them. But I have I can empathize with them this much. That's it. So, yeah, y'all. That was my new moon in Sagittarius. How was y'all's new moon in Sagittarius yesterday? What happened to y'all yesterday? That's what I want to know. Y'all, I'm about to... How was your new moon in Sagittarius? Is not easy for me to spell. Sagittarius yesterday. Hopefully that's spelled right. You said slow burn. Hey, friend, you said I'm bad at caring. How you bad at caring? Everybody care about something. I'm telling you, everybody cares about something. Care, when you look into the etymology of care, it's love. Everybody loves something. Everybody pays attention to something. As soon as your attention is focused on something, you have care. So what you care about, them video games, that soda, that Pepsi, the new chair, the new remote controller. What you care about? You care about going outside, playing games on that phone. There's something you care about, baby. Where your attention focused on. Yes, 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 video games. Yep, that's what I see in my mind when I talk to you. I see somebody sitting in the chair playing video games with unhealthy food next to them. So, change your diet. Slow burn. So, yeah, y'all. That was my Sagittarius moon yesterday. I'm ready for 2026. Y'all got any 2026 goals? Because my 2026 goal is just to do more intentional breathing. That's it. Intentional breathing for sure. I've already been started on it, so it's just something I want to expand in 2026, and I feel like that's going to ground me into my reality. How was your 2025? Slow burn. I'm glad you asked. I think I'm going to make a whole video about it. I have videos that I'm going to start posting that are not going to be lives, but honestly, it was very informative. Overall, I was probably the most stressed out. 2025 has probably been the most stressful year. And honestly, I kept saying that 2025 was the worst, but I know for sure it's not the worst because I was actually very blessed. It's been an amazing year for me. The opportunities that I've had has been really great, but it's been the people. The apartment complex that I live in is one of them. Get my money and body right and evolve spiritually. Person A. Oh, okay. So I was going to make a whole video about it because it wasn't a year that I would just, yay, it was amazing. But it was like, yay, it was amazing. It's like I feel so contradicted with 2025. That's how I feel. It's like, yay, life is amazing. But at the same time, it's like, oh, these things are stressing me out. But I'll give you like a little insight of what the video is going to talk about. Since literally the beginning of 2025, when I tell you guys a personal recap of 2025, okay. So since the beginning of 2025, I have been having certain issues with people, typically people in professional settings, typically. But I think that also one thing I told you guys about is that when you go no contact with people, there's still energy that you have attracted that you're used to. And so that energy still may come about. So there has been a few people. I got a whole new phone number at the beginning of 2025. So there's a lot of people who I cut off, who don't have my new number. I'm not really big on social media, with friends and stuff. So it's not many people, unless they just looking me up, who gonna have my social media. So it's a lot of people who I cut off. But I feel like it's still correlated with some of the issues that I've had with power and control, like power and control issues. So it started off with the beginning of the year. I had a supervisor. We didn't really have much of any issues, but I started school at the beginning of the year as well, which was an additional stressor. And I realized this supervisor is actually doing the most. Bitch, you're doing the most. Like when I can manage it, it was easier. I had more time, but bitch, I don't have the time no more. So you're doing the most. And actually, I was being respectful to you because I had the time, but I don't have the time anymore. And now what you're saying is just too much for me to handle. And it's actually not how this job works. Like, my supervisor previous to this lady was nowhere to be seen. And then this lady came and I started seeing her all the time. She started stressing me out, y'all. So I had to learn to speak up and say, no, I'm not doing that, without being afraid of the backlash, because she's my supervisor. So obviously she has a direct authority over me. And I have to be like, no, this is too much for me. Like, I'm not doing that. And I had to go and get the support from people above this lady in order for me to be like, okay, I'm okay with speaking up. So at the beginning of the year, I learned a lot about self-advocacy, speaking up for myself and what I want. Even like before with school, that's how I got into school. Because at first they told me, no, you're not accepted. And then I said, wrong person. And then they ended up accepting me. So I learned a lot about self-advocacy, speaking up so that I'm not left behind and stressed out and overworked. And not being afraid to do that. And that eventually worked itself out. But it was like, as soon as that worked itself out, it led to a different issue with classmates. And I was with classmates who are demonic. Literally, I worked with demons. And these demonic ladies were just hell for the longest time, I'm telling you. And so they just caused hell. And what that taught me is that I was in a group of women who, two of them had lots of home life issues. One had a premature baby, like a couple of months early. The other one had hella people dying in the family. And then we had these two people who were siblings who were just the worst. And they just had the control issues. They didn't want to work as a team. And then the other one, she only did what her older sister wanted her to do. She was cool by herself. She got work done by herself. But when her older sister came in the mix, the older sister just like slowed everything down. She did not want to work a nut. She wanted everybody to do what she wanted to do, not what everybody wanted to do. And so they were like bullies. They tried to bully me. To be so honest, they tried to bully me. And y'all know I'm not the bullying type. You're not going to bully me. So it was constant fighting like every week until a Mercury retrograde came. The Mercury retrograde came and it slowed down. It seemed like everything was going to be good. But then, no, once that Mercury retrograde ended, it went back to trash, to hell, to chaos. And so it taught me to, number one, I need to speak up for my needs. And number two, just because there's a system of hierarchy doesn't mean that the hierarchy is going to address the real problem, which the real problem was bullying behavior and not following through with what you say you're going to do, right? And so I realized that the hierarchy is not going to do everything. So sometimes, baby, you just going to have to break some rules and not give a fuck. You're going to have to break some rules, not give a fuck, and go on about your day. So that's what I learned from that situation. And you're going to have to cuss a couple of people out too. And tell them bitches to shut the fuck up. That's what you're going to have to do a couple of times. So that's what I realized during that moment. And then I started having apartment issues, which I just told you happened for the longest time, with people who just don't give a fuck because they overworked and they have a terrible life and they being worked like slaves. They don't give a fuck about you. They care about that paycheck and keeping their job. That's all they care about. So that taught me that just because it's right doesn't mean that they're going to do their job. People will lie to you and then not follow through. What are you going to do then? That taught me, leave the environment. You can't help broken systems. Leave the environment. Goodbye. You whores are trash. Anywho, so that was my 2025. And honestly, that was the bad part of my 2025. The good part of my 2025 actually, those evil B words got you fired. Oh. And see, for me, those evil B words, they were trying to, like, people was coming back to me telling me that one of them was saying, oh, I know the real Meiana. You want me to tell you about the real Meiana? What do you know about me? Besides the fact that I told you that I was raised in a single parent home. Like, what do you know about me? Baby, what I know about you is that you can't have no kids because you have an unhealthy relationship with men, and you obviously, let me not go. The bitch was delusional. Just say that. The bitches was delusional and very miserable. Delusional and miserable, and that's what they'll do. I feel like that's been what it's been. Delusional and miserable people have been evading my energy, and I have been caring about it. Instead of being like, bitch, you're a delusional, miserable bitch, and moving on with my life. It's been chaotic energy for me because it was like, why? I kept trying to figure out why is this happening. But that's been my whole 2025. But in all reality, the reason why I say it's a contradiction is because at the same time, I've done something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, which was go back to school. I've met amazing people in the school, even though I had that one bad situation that lasted for months and was hell. I actually met, and I'm in a group of people we work really well together. We are on each other's team. I've learned a lot about friendship this year, loving people. I've been able to go to both school and work and manage and still enjoy my life. So this year has been an amazing year for me, but it's just those little contradictions. It's a little contradiction where you want to like, but you can't, because I'm grown. But, it's been one of those. So I'm hoping 2026 is just full of me moving on, enjoying my life. You said unpleasant experiences make us strong. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hey, Gregory. You said they don't want Meiana to pop off. I've had to. And it pisses me off because I had, you know, me being honest and open about certain things. I had one lady with the apartment complex said that the email that I sent was very emotional because at the end of the email, I said, I'm not a part of the business funnel, bitch. I didn't say bitch, but I told her, bitch, y'all treat me like a business funnel, bitch. I'm a human being who live in these damn apartments. The fuck y'all think this is? So people call you emotional. It feels emotional. And it's just too much. 2025 definitely taught me that these hoes ain't loyal. And everybody's selfish because they have a terrible life. And I don't have a terrible life. So I typically don't go in my life patterns like that. You know, I'm more like optimistic. I'm not the type of person who is like injustice is okay. You know, like I'm the type of person who's like optimistic, but I realize that injustice is real. People will have injustice that will take years to act like that. I feel like that's actually been a theme of 2025 is injustice. Like that's higher, like that little back and forth. Because even then, like earlier this year, y'all know that historically wise, like my family, my black people where I come from, they come from slavery with Indian people. So my people are considered the freemen. They were slaves of the native Indians, right? And so for a long time, there's been years where they were not classified as Indians, even though they gave so much to that environment. They lived in that culture. And this year, that's when they actually classified them as Indians. So that was like a sense of injustice that was kind of like healed generationally, right? And my ancestors who were slaves of those Indians. So eventually, whenever they get done with this process, we'll be able to get the benefits of it all, of being a Creek freeman. But, you know, like I said, it's just been a year of showing that injustice is normalized. Not everybody gets justice. And it does take a long time to get justice sometimes. And sometimes it'll be years. What they started doing this 20, 30 years ago just for the Creek freemans. There will be years for some people to get justice. What are you really going to fight for? What do you have time to dedicate fighting for? I don't know. Because it's starting to feel like none of these hoes are worth it. I don't know. People fight for stuff and then years later, people see the benefits. So it's like, I will probably be fighting for something in my life where I will not be reaping the benefits this lifetime. Somebody years ahead of me will be reaping the benefits of what I'm fighting for today. So what is worth fighting for that you're not going to benefit for? That's what I've really figured out. I'm not going to benefit nothing of the things that I fight for. Is how I see it. So yeah, y'all, that was my 2025. I told myself I was going to make a video. I might still make a video, but how is y'all's 2025? You said the good going to always outweigh the bad. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Rico. You know, I really appreciate you all the time. All the time. Maybe I'll look at my phone for it. I'm trying to look at, because I honestly haven't really looked at what was going on in the chart for 2025. But I wonder if there's any particular positions that could reflect all the issues that I had this year. But yeah, y'all, that was my 2025. I feel like overall, though, all the knowledge that I've gotten, my YouTube channel has grown significantly. I've gotten some of the most amazing people on my channel, honestly, y'all. Like, getting to meet so many of you guys who come on my channel consistently. Being able to, you know, really express my interest on this channel, my spiritual interest and hobbies, and be able to feel understood has been an amazing thing. Because when you talk about such deep knowledge, there's not a lot of people typically around me who has the same interest or even the understanding. Like, I'm talking about high level stuff, honestly. We talked about entropy today, which is something that I've never thought that I would talk about ever in my whole entire life, was physics. So to take these conversations to such a high level, like, area, high level understanding, it's not too many people who will really sit here and allow you to talk to them and sit there and try to understand what you're talking about and even add back to the conversation, because that's one thing I really value with the people in my community, is that y'all add back to the conversation. Now, I don't just be saying stuff and y'all tell me, y'all add on, y'all correct me when I can't figure out a word, y'all give me the word. Like, I've met some amazing people this year online specifically, and in real life, getting to know people in real life, honestly. So yeah, y'all, that's been my 2025. It's been a lot, very contradicting, back and forth. Not just one good, one bad. It's been bad and good, bad and good. But I'm gonna start beating these hoes up spiritually. Y'all better stop fucking with me. That's how I feel. So yeah, y'all, that's the conversation for today. So it's a beautiful day today. I think I'm gonna go outside and get a little sunlight. How did I get to be so well spoken? And you said we're going to have issues. That's entropy at work. Continue to maintain. Exactly. And that's GR. That's exactly what it is. Entropy at work. La Peaches. Hi, La Peaches. This is a comment that I actually get often, that I'm very articulate. And there's a few reasons. Number one, I'll give you all the reasons why I'm so articulate. As a child, I used to have lisp, and I used to deal with select mutism. So if you don't know what lisp is, it's when I speak with my tongue as a kid. And select mutism is an emotional disorder that at times, it's an anxiety disorder where a person, usually a child, consistently fails to speak in specific social environments. So I used to, like, literally when I would get around certain people, I literally just could not speak at all. So I dealt with that as a child, and I took speech therapy as a child. And then also as a young child, my grandmother put me in different competitions. I was raised in a Baptist church. So she would put me in actual competitions where we would have to write an essay, memorize it, and then speak it in public. And then also during holidays, the type of church that I went to, they would give the kids little short things to memorize and go on stage and say in front of the audience. So I was raised in an environment like that where speech was prioritized. And then on top of that, I had to have a mom who would be like, that's not how you say that. You got to say it, you know. She was very like, that's not how you say it. So that led me into eventually studying communication disorders, which is what I study now. That's what I'm getting my master's in. So I study communication disorders, and I work with children doing speech therapy. So that's why I'm so articulate, because literally in my everyday life, my day-to-day job, and then even in my master's, I study things like language, the disorder of language, the disorder of speech, how to articulate your sounds. Literally, I work with children articulating their sounds appropriately, using the correct grammar. Now, I am an African-American person, so I don't believe in always using correct grammar. I don't even like doing that because it causes cognitive dissonance in me, you know? So just in public speech, you just use correct grammar, you know, all those things. So that is the reason why I am so articulate and well-spoken. And also, I am well-studied in my hobby. This is the things that I do, is learn and present it to you guys. So I also trust myself. That's another way of being well-spoken. I trust the things that I say, and I say them proudly. So yeah, that is why I'm so well-spoken, y'all. I gave y'all the whole layout in history. I'm also a Gemini. If y'all didn't realize it, I'm also a Gemini. I can't help it. I'm a Gemini. I'm a Gemini sun and a Gemini rising. I can't help it. So if you're into astrology, you'll understand that. And it's in my first house on top of that. My Gemini is in my first house. So I was meant to be this person, y'all. So anywho, I will say with this 2025, that says a lot. I will say with this 2025, one thing I did realize is where I will be taking my business. So, you know, I have my spiritual stuff, which is not going to be the exact business. But one thing about me, and maybe it's because I have Mars in Libra. I like to speak in astrology terms for some of my astrology people. Maybe because I have Mars in Libra. But one thing that I love is pragmatics. That is an aspect of communication disorders. And pragmatics is just being able to communicate in social environments. So speaking to teachers, speaking to moms, speaking to dad, speaking to friends, all those things. Speaking to people, that's pragmatics. So one thing I learned with this year is that I really want to support women, especially. I love men. I want to work with men too. But I would love to work with women especially in improving their pragmatic skills. So what does that mean? Being able to defend themselves verbally. You know, in the Black community, we lead to, you know, but you know, as an adult, you cannot do that. So I want to support people in defending themselves, self-advocacy, boundary setting verbally, maintaining relationships, communication wise, all those things that fall into pragmatic skills, being able to have proper conversations. Shout out to all my Leos. I love me a Leo. And so I do see myself taking my business outside of spirituality in that direction. Like I'm going to continue to, of course, do like the spiritual conversations. Y'all need a little breakdown mindset work. I would love to do some mindset work with y'all. Y'all want to do that so y'all can spiritually be on part. But really, I'm going to start focusing on helping people understand their language to communicate with other people, because that's what life is about. And if you've been in this conversation about health, you see that there are 6 things that humans need to function. And one of those, the last 2 things deal with being with other people, communicating with other people, and then providing something to other people. So a lot of people, they feel healthy in certain areas, but that breakdown happens because they don't have the ability to communicate with other people well. So I feel like that's what I've learned this whole year is how do I communicate my needs efficiently and make sure that it's completely understood. Now, you can communicate. It doesn't mean that the other person is going to follow through and actually care, but at least you did what you had to do. And that's what's the most important, because a lot of people, they get stuck at not really knowing how to do the communication part on their own, and it starts to build up that high entropy that we've been talking about. That chaotic random energy that needs to be expressed is no longer being expressed, and they start to it harms them. So we have to express it, right? So that's what I want to help people do, help women do especially. It's just support pragmatics, which is a small field that a lot of people don't think about. But that's what I'll be thinking about, hopefully in the future. But I will be implementing a little bit in this channel because that's just who I am. But have I ever considered getting my doctorate? I'm so tired of the master's. But I thought about it. I was like, should I get my doctorate? People start calling me doctor. I've been thinking about it. But I'm just so damn tired of the masters already. I'm so damn tired of it. I'm ready to get over. You like my fighting point? No, I'm playing. Thank you, John. So those are the things that I'm definitely interested in. I'm like, I might as well, because I'm going to be studying this regardless. But at the same time, I'm like, please, I didn't want to do it. I didn't even want to do the masters, y'all. I didn't even want to even do the masters, y'all. I did it for control issues, because I did not want to be an assistant forever. So y'all, I'm figuring it out, y'all. Dr. Sage. At this point, call me Dr. Sage. I guess I'm too intelligent not to be a doctor. Y'all don't make me go back to this. Don't make me go to doctorate school. I don't want to do that, y'all. But it feels like it's the right thing to do, but I don't want to do it. Y'all. But I think it's just because I have so many things that I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about supporting people in self-actualization. I'm passionate about supporting people with their pragmatic skills, having better conversations, holding your ground in conversations, not giving up, not being scared, all those things. Because I don't know, I grew up in a chaotic environment. People thought they didn't have conversations. So when I got older, I said, you know what? I don't think that's the right thing to do. And you shouldn't cut people off like that all the time either. You got to talk to people. So I'll have to learn the hard way. You know, life goes on. You said take a break after the master's and reevaluate. Yeah, what I want to do is I want to move. Once I get my master's, I want to move to a different state. I have the exact state. Y'all want to know how I figured out the exact state? Well, number one, spiritually, I felt led to it. Spiritually, I felt led to it first. Then I looked at astrocartography because y'all know I love astrology. And astrocartography-wise, this state literally has a conjunct energy. There's two lines that go through it, which is my moon sign and my Mercury sign goes to this state. So I realized I think that California never. I could never move to California. I did not like my experience there. It's on the opposite end. I'll give y'all a hint. It's on the opposite end, exact opposite. So I was thinking whenever I move there, that's when I want to start writing my book because I have a life passion. I have a few life passions, y'all. Exactly, Rico. I have a few life passions, y'all. One of my life passions is to support young people, children and young adults in self-actualization. So making sure that they are exposed to different careers, like being a physicist, working in NASA, working with makeup, you know, the scientist makeup, you know, all those things, even being a teacher, being a principal, being a stay-at-home parent. All of these are careers that children should be exposed to at a young age so that they can have a say, you know, a better say in what they do. Because it's difficult to just choose a career if you only have abstract understanding of what it is. So that's just one thing that I want to do before I hit the bed of, what do they call it? Hit the bed of dirt. That's one thing I want to do, is create programs like that. And then another thing that I want to do is write a book. And for all my scary people out here, when I say this, don't act scary, but I want this to be an occult book. A book full of occult symbols and understanding. A dirt nap, for real. And it's one of those books where if you understand it, before I transition, if you understand it, you understand what I mean. But if you don't understand it and you're spiritually unaware, you're just going to see it as a different thing. Like, you'll just see it as entertainment. It'll be entertaining visuals and reading, and eventually it may become a show. Who knows? Because my life is amazing. I might create children's shows. But it's one of those things, like I always say Avatar: The Last Airbender, because that's one of the best shows. If you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, you'll see it as just entertainment. But if you spiritually in tuned, you see they talking about chakras, they talking about elements, they talking about so many things in that show. They talked about so many things that if you really tapped in, you really understand what's going on. You know? So I really wanted to write a story like that for the younger generations. So I think that's what I'll be giving before my death. My dirt nap, and before my transition into entropy. Before my transition to entropy, that is what I'll be leaving to this world. Whoever reads it, enjoy, and have fun. Gotta activate that chi. Rico said very deep. You know, I know you know. I know you know, friend. You the Avatar watcher. A book that pulls, exactly the way that I have these conversations on here, it will be like a story of coming into. And if you ever watch that one show on Disney, what's this show called? Let me tell y'all what it's called. Disney show. It is a Marvel show. It is called, there's so many Marvel Disney shows. Oh my God. Oh, WandaVision. If you ever saw WandaVision, you'll see that it moves in a particular order of expansion, right? So it starts like black and white, and it's kind of correlated to the eras. So it goes into like black and white to 70s to 80s to 90s to 2000 to early modern day is how they kind of expand the show for understanding, because she's like stuck in a spirit. What is it? She was stuck in like a spell or something. But I want my book. I'm putting y'all. I'm telling y'all my business because I'm still coming together, and I'm gonna start writing it next year. I'm just putting it together. I'm allowing life to put it together for me. But I wanted to have that kind of same concept of awakening, right? So you're not going to really understand until you get to the end of the book how much this character has really awakened. But it will be a story of expansion and awakening and revelation of there's more to this world than what I'm seeing. So it's like it's not going to be exactly like it starts black and white, but you'll see like the character will start and be very like their life is their life and they're going to live it without any expectation, but something's going to happen to where they awaken, and then like just life just continues to reveal itself, and they become more awake and more conscious throughout the story. So that is where I'm heading. It's still coming together though. So that will be the occult symbols and stuff is awakening. I might even talk a little bit about entropy. There's some real people in real world that I like. I love their personality. So I think I'll be really taking their personality and using it as characters in the book. So I think it's going to take me a while to really write this book. Because with my first book, You Are Programmed, that took me like 6 months to really get all together. So this book has been on my spirit for years. It's been on my spirit for years, but I've always known that there's more that I have to understand before I can really put the book out. So this is a book that's going to be coming together for a couple of more years. So I'm going to let it come together and not going to try to rush it or nothing, because this is going to be my life's work. So y'all, make sure y'all get y'all some sunlight, some water, some sleep, some vegetables. Do that meal sequencing so you can get that natural Ozempic, y'all. Eat them vegetables first, protein second, carbs last. Get you some rhythm in, get you some movement, get you some gravity, allow gravity to hold you. Relax in this world, relax your body on the earth, ground yourself, and express yourself, y'all. Atonement is an everyday thing. We have to get back into alignment every single day, y'all. So that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate you guys. Put it in my period. There we go. Thank you. So yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I think tomorrow's conversation, it's an unexpected one for me because I was going to just end it. But I'm thinking tomorrow, let me see, what was I thinking? So with the daily things we need to align, like sleep, sunlight, food, water, gravity, I was thinking maybe doing a whole episode about how to do it exactly. Because just like we were talking about with the meal sequencing, we see that restaurants give us a salad and soup first, but we never understood that that was a part of meal sequencing, right? Unintentionally to support our health. So I wanted to see if there was more information where, okay, we do see this and we're used to it. We just we don't know the reasoning. So sleep-wise, I've talked to a sleep coach before. So, giving a little bit of information that the sleep coach told me about life, about how to have better sleep. I can tell y'all some of that information, and all these things. So I was thinking maybe that would just be an outline episode of just all that nice little information. And then let me see. So then the 28th and the 29th, yeah, we'll have our last few episodes then. Hey friend, how you been? And then I know my friend John said he want to come up on the show. Make sure y'all double tap, y'all. Double tap the live. Give me a like. I know John said he want to come on the show. So I'm like, I have a lot of time throughout the week a little bit. So I may be doing some pop-up shows, just be talking about random stuff. Nothing particularly on this topic, on this conversation. But I might do a little pop-up show and just talk. And then if anybody wants to come on live, you guys can. I would love to talk to y'all and do, whatever y'all feel interested in. So y'all might see me a couple of times, but I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all see some videos. Y'all gonna see some videos of me. I'm gonna post some videos, y'all. I got them. I've been recording a couple of times. So I'll see y'all later. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow, 6 o'clock Central Time. Okay? Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.